right, another beautiful Sunday evening is here, day number 27 in the month of July 2025. Good evening, folks, and welcome to Iron Port here on Metropolitan Television. Iron Port is proudly brought to you by the Ghana Regional Authority, GWEL PLC, Serene Insurance, Ghana Link Network Services, Meridian Port Services, MPS, and indeed Phoenix Insurance. The show is proudly powered by the Ghana Ports and Harbours Authority-GPHA, and our media partner on this journey of a lifetime is the Business and Financial Times, the BNFT. Now, if you want to have a grasp of all the transpired on the show tonight, make a date and grab the Thursday edition of the BNFT, and you'll be able to read all that happened here on the show. Tonight, we are streaming live on our social media pages. On Facebook, we are streaming live at Ghana Ports and Harbours Authority. Ghana Ports and Harbours Authority. Still on Facebook, we are live at Port of Tema. And on YouTube, we are streaming live at Iron Port. Now, as usual, we're going to be getting interactive with you, and so all you have to do is sit back, relax, grab your phones, and send us your messages and comments ahead via our dedicated WhatsApp line, which is 0538-037353, 0538-037353. And when the time is ripe, and I pick signals from the production team, we shall activate the phone lines for you to call in and contribute to the discussion. My name is Kennedy Mona. We're going for a quick break. When we return, we'll continue the show. Please stay with us.
Energy brings you quality choices with Goil Super XP, available in many Goil stations nationwide. It is fortified with special additives that help your engine perform better and use less fuel. Branch into a Goil station today and energize your ride with Goil Super XP, compatible with most vehicles. Goil Super XP will feel ya, huh? Will be feel. Goil, good energy. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Electricity, then pay your taxes. Yeah. Our taxes, our future.
Because you see, without our taxes, we wouldn't have good roads, good schools, better hospitals, street lights, and other very important social amenities. When we pay our taxes, we give our children free and quality education. Talga, my money too small. Why should I pay my tax? Look, small. Salifo, it doesn't matter how small or big your business or income is. You still have to pay your taxes. The little taxes from each and every one of us, when put together, could give your community clean water or that deprived school with tables and chairs. Please pay your taxes. It is your responsibility. It is your civic duty. It is the law.
Welcome to today's edition of Serene Insurance Business News. We present to you Serena. You're right. You can complete an entire insurance process for the purchase of any motor and other insurance products, from onboarding to issuing a motor insurance sticker and policy certificate, all on WhatsApp in less than 10 minutes. Serena is simple to use and it prioritizes user ease and flexibility. You can either use voice notes or text to effortlessly issue your instant policy, cross-platform renewals, claims, and also process your payments through mobile money, Visa, and MasterCard. To engage Serena, just search for Serena Insurance on all social media handles and scan the Serena barcode or save her number 0500 517 114 and start chatting her on WhatsApp immediately. There you have it. Serena is not just a tool, it's an innovation by Serene Insurance designed to redefine how motor and travel insurance are accessed and managed. Speed, convenience, and reliability.
MPS Terminal 3 is Africa's new state-of-the-art container terminal at Tema Port. For manufacturers, agro-processors and traders, the new port means business can be done faster. This infrastructure boost will improve Ghana's port handling capacity, connect more trading routes, and oil the engine of growth for the economy, creating greater opportunities across all sectors as Africa's markets merge and become the largest trading bloc globally. MPS, we connect, you thrive.
At Phoenix Insurance, we make the unpredictable predictable and the uncertain certain with our range of products, including motor insurance, fire insurance, engineering insurance, marine insurance, accident insurances, and all types of bonds. We have you covered. We also support you with risk management advice to enable you stay focused on your business. Take a policy with Phoenix Insurance today. We help you rise from adversity stronger and more secure. Contact us on 0302 246319 or 0302 246644 or any of our branches, agencies, and brokers spread across the nation. You can as well connect with us on our WhatsApp chatbot. Efiba is waiting to assist you. Make the future predictable with Phoenix Insurance. Phoenix Insurance, a delightful service experience delivered with wisdom.
All right, welcome back. It's now time for us to take a look at happenings in the port and shipping industry over the last week by way of local stories. Please stay.
The Ghana Ports and Harbours Authority has commissioned a brand new ultra-modern fire tender to reinforce safety and emergency response operations at the port of Tema. The fire truck, manufactured by Rosenbauer and mounted on a Mercedes-Benz chassis, is equipped with cutting-edge firefighting and rescue tools. It has a water capacity of 6,500 liters and a 500-liter foam tank, enabling efficient response to fires and hazardous incidents across the port environment. The Director General of GPHA, Brigadier General Paul Seydou Tanya-Kulono, who commissioned the fire tender last Friday, July 25, described the acquisition as a clear demonstration of management's ongoing commitment to enhancing safety within Ghana's ports.
This brand, Rosenberg, is one of the best in the world. And I want to take this opportunity to thank the manufacturers, because as part of the package, we had an inspection team that went there for pre-shipment inspection. And I'm sure as part of the package, of men and women or our staff will go through training and capacity building. I would like to entreat all of us to manage and take very good care of this equipment.
Brigadier General Tanya-Kulono also announced that another fire tender has already been procured and is expected to be delivered within the next month for deployment at the port of Takoradi. Looking ahead, he emphasized that the authority will prioritize the acquisition of rapid intervention vehicles, smaller, more maneuverable units capable of carrying the necessary personnel and firefighting gear for swift deployment in challenging environments.
We have always been ready to support the National Fire Service in all their interventions within the metropolitan area. I would like to take this opportunity to thank the Minister of Transport, our board chairman, and also the Minister of Interior for assisting us in the early clearance of this vehicle.
He further reiterated GPH's commitment to continue supporting the Ghana National Fire Service, building on a long-standing collaboration aimed at enhancing emergency response capabilities within the maritime sector. The acting port fire and safety manager, Labram Issa Idrisu, urged his colleague fire personnel to maintain the new asset diligently, noting its high cost and critical importance.
Fire department, we should be very grateful for this equipment. This is a very expensive equipment, and we have the opportunity to have one. Sometimes it takes the whole nation to even get one, and we are fortunate to have this. I want to stand on behalf of the team and my colleagues to thank the DG and promise him that this equipment will always, or that will always be.
The Tema Fishing Harbour continues to attract attention from international stakeholders interested in sustainable fisheries and marine resource governance. To this end, a delegation from the Regional Environment Office of the United States Embassy for West and Central Africa has paid a working visit to the Tema Fishing Harbour. The visit was aimed at familiarizing the delegation with the state of fishing operations and ongoing development within Ghana's busiest fishing port. The delegation was led by Anthony Eterno, the newly appointed officer in charge of regional environmental affairs at the U.S. Embassy.
My last post was in Luanda, Angola, and that's where we had the former president visit Lobito, the port over there. So that's very fascinating for me, the whole structure of ports and how you work. So
he was accompanied by the executive director of the Blue Economy and Governance Consult, Richard Niama Amafio. They were received by the general manager of the Tema Fishing Harbour, engineer Stephen Ampiao, and his management team. During a briefing session, the delegation was presented with an overview of the structure and operations of the harbour, including the performance of various sectors and the strategic role the harbour plays in advancing Ghana's fisheries sector. The delegation was also taken on a guided tour of key operational areas of the harbour, including the inshore wharf, the canoe basin, and the fish market. These areas serve as vital hubs for artisanal and semi-industrial fishers. The visiting officials interacted with fisherfolk and industry leaders, gaining first-hand insights into the harbour's management model, which emphasizes collaboration between the Port Authority and local fishing communities.
You could see from the interaction that they were impressed with the facilities and the organization of the various stakeholders in the fishing harbour. At the fish markets, they were impressed with the way the women were organized, the way they were going about their trading activities. When we got to the canoe basin, they were surprised to see that we have over 1,000 canoes that operate from the Tema Fishing Harbour.
On the sidelines of the tour, Engineer Ampiao disclosed that plans are far advanced to commission a newly constructed health post within the harbour enclave, an initiative which forms part of efforts to enhance health and safety services for the fishing community.
We are looking forward to the commissioning of the new health post in the fishing harbour. It's been completed for some time. It's been equipped. That I understand the doctors have even started preparing a roster to roll out at the place. So we are looking forward to the commissioning of the health post, and it's going to be a major addition to the fishing harbour.
Right, so those were happenings in the port and shipping industry over the last week. We are zooming straight into our discussions, and tonight we have a two-pronged discussion. One, I will take a look at one cardinal issue, indeed, that has to do with the role of Ghana's global ocean governance and how to unpack, or so to speak, decode the Ocean Centers Initiative. We'll tell you what it's all about. And indeed, we shall be zooming into our second discussion, which has to do with what we started last week. That's a part two of this one, the handling of dangerous cargo along Ghana's corridors and logistics sector. And so these are the two topics we are treating tonight. But first of all, we would go straight into our first discussion, which is Ghana's role in global ocean governance and how to unpack the Ocean Centers Initiative, or decoding it. And like I said, we'll have in the studios tonight Dr. Emmanuel Kofimbia, who is the country lead, United Nations Global Compact's Ocean Centers Initiative. He's here. You know, Doc is no stranger to Iron Port. He's been a friend of the show for several years. Doc, good evening, sir, and welcome.
Yeah, good evening. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. And then we also have in the studios Mr. Tolu Kweku Lakwa, who is the Executive Director of the UN Global Compact Network, Ghana. Good evening, sir, and welcome.
Good evening. Thank you for having me.
Your first time on Iron Pod?
Yes, it is.
We are glad to have you.
Thank you.
Right. So first of all, I would have you, Mr. Lakwa, start and tell us about what, how come Ghana was, as it were, selected to benefit from this particular initiative. I know you had a lunch recently.
No, actually, so we're launching next week. Or 31st. That'll be this week, yes.
Okay, sure. All right. Okay. So tell us why Ghana was chosen.
Thank you. So the UN Global Compact, we have been working on sustainable ocean business for some time. It started when we attended the UN conference in Lisbon in 2022. And during that time, we met with other members of the UN Global Compact, and we were discussing how we want to advance sustainable ocean business in Ghana.
Right.
So following that conference, we came back to Ghana, and we actually hosted an ocean conference. And the theme of that conference was advancing sustainable ocean business in Ghana.
Right.
So we had the participation of the Ghana Ports and Harbour Authority. We had the participation of the Ghana Maritime Authority, as well as UNDP. And so we had a discussion about, how can we start that work here?
Yes.
And then we also introduced the Ocean Stewardship Coalition, which is an organization within the UN Global Compact that focuses on advancing sustainable issues in the maritime space and also the blue economy. So following that, the Ocean Stewardship Coalition was very impressed with our work. And so they contacted us and said, we're looking for some countries to pitch to the Lloyd's Register Foundation to start an Ocean Centers initiative.
Right.
And these centers was going to be a pilot to see how we can foster sustainable ocean business in the maritime space and also to advance safety as a very key concern. So following that, we went through the process, and given our work, we started off with a phase 1 of the project, which was to be a stakeholder mapping to see if there would be interest in Ghana for an ocean center to support the sector in this area. Also to work with government in structuring some of the initiatives as well, to also align with government priorities when it comes to sustainable oceans, and of course with regards to 4 key areas. We're looking at ports and harbors, renewable energy offshore, aqua fisheries, and then some forays into blue finance. So we did initial phase 1 of that project. Dr. Kofi Mbia was our lead on that.
Right.
And we produced a report, which we sent back to the Ocean Stewardship Center as well as the Lloyd's Register Foundation on the potential for a robust center in Ghana. So following that, they did a review, and then Ghana was selected along with 7 other countries to host an ocean center. So currently, we are going to have our launch next week. We are gathering many important stakeholders from the industry and from government to officially launch the UN Ocean Center. And then following that, we'll have some workshops with key stakeholders in the industry to start getting them kind of sensitized to the issue on safety within the space.
Right. Let me come to Dr. Mbia and find out from you if you can tell us what this Ocean Centers initiative is about and why Ghana's participation is significant.
Yes, thank you very much. And as Tulu indicated, some background work has been done already, which shows that there is interest in Ghana when it comes to the issues of safety and sustainability.
Yes.
The ocean centers, I must say, do not have a physical presence. They are more of a virtual hub that creates a multi-stakeholder platform. And as he mentioned, we have mapped a cross-section of industry players, from academia to government, public, NGO, IGO, etc., including those who are unseen and unheard, the fisher folk, all of them have been mapped. So the ocean centers will create the platform for these bodies to engage in a cross-fertilization of ideas to identify the challenges that beset our ocean industry, especially having regard to issues of safety and sustainability. So these are, if you like, the linchpins on which all of that which relates to the ocean will be driven.
Right.
Essentially, safety. If it's not safe, it's not sustainable.
Right.
As we say, safety first.
Absolutely.
So we tie in safety with sustainability, creating a platform where we can exchange ideas, isolate the challenges, and then find, if you like, homegrown solutions. These are, if you like, localized solutions, because the problems which are identified may be unique, if you like, to Ghana. And consequently, we need to have our own blueprint for resolving those issues. As we move towards decarbonization, the issues of climate change, we are talking about renewables, we are bringing in new things. We need to know, the safety considerations as far as these are concerned. As we introduce these new elements, we need to know how sustainable are these new things that we bring on board. So essentially, that is what the ocean centers are purposed to do.
All right, so viewers, for you to have a grasp of what, understanding of what we're doing, Ghana is one of 7 countries, indeed 2 from Africa, Ghana and Kenya, that have been selected under the United Nations Global Compact Ocean Centers Initiative. That's what you just heard them say. It's a collaborative effort to address safety and sustainability challenges across ocean industries. And this global project, supported by Lloyd's Register Foundation, aims to promote responsible business practices, influence marine policy, and generate locally driven solutions to pressing ocean-related challenges. And so that's exactly what we're discussing tonight. And let me come back to you, Mr. Lacroix, and find out from you. So this was launched earlier in Nice, in France, and the Ghana version is going to be launched, like you said, on the 31st of July. That's just next week. Now, right after the launch, what next? What will be the way forward for the Ocean Centers Initiative in our jurisdiction?
Yeah, so we are going to have some workshops. We're going to immediately start working on the workshops. So typically, probably about a month after the launch, we will gather the relevant stakeholders, start teaching them about safety in the space. And so what is the purpose of this? The purpose of this is that we believe if you're going to have a very robust industry when it comes to the different sectors that we're looking at, you have to start from a very sustainable platform. And so for us, the safety aspect is key. So the safety when it comes to infrastructure, when it comes to operations, even when it comes to how you handle your human resources and things like that, there's that element that has to be, the standards have to be set. And so when you have that, then you begin to progress on the other things. The reason why the Lloyd's Register Foundation specifically picked the UN Global Compact is because we have our 10 principles in 4 key main areas: human rights, labor, the environment, and anti-corruption. So using that as our principles and our DNA, that is through that we will begin to showcase how these goals can be attained. And so when we do that, what our goal is to first of all be as inclusive as possible. So as you mentioned, it's supposed to be a very community-driven. We're supposed to be looking at local needs and local problems. So in doing so, we'll bring together both the fisheries, both those that are also in the maritime companies that are in the space. We'll look at shippers, and we'll look at even the finance sector, because they're all part of the ecosystem, especially when we're talking about blue finance. As you know, currently, a lot of the banks are doing a lot when it comes to green finance, when it comes to solar, when it comes to renewables onshore. So we're also trying to bring that discussion offshore as well. Let's see if we can also bring some blue finance. Let's get some blue bonds and structures I'll say financial instruments prepared. But to also shore up confidence, we also have to start from how are we putting these initiatives together, and we want to do that in a safe way. So the workshops would follow, and after the workshops, we'll have a review to see what the next steps will be, and this should extend well into next year and beyond.
Okay. All right, awesome. Now, Doc, let's take a look at how the Ocean Centers Initiative is going to help, resolve the myriad of challenges that we have in our space as far as the blue economy and the maritime industry is concerned. For instance, we're talking about IUU fishing, illegal, unregulated, unreported fishing. We're talking about fragmented regulations. We're talking about ESG compliance in Ghana's fishing and aquaculture sectors. How will it come in? Does it come in handy? And are we going to be able to use it to navigate our way through?
Yes, thank you very much. I must say that we are on the blue road to COP30.
Yes.
We are on the blue road to COP30.
That's in Brazil, I understand.
Yeah, so in Brazil. Yes, you're right. And, with the ocean centers and the workshops which Tolu indicated, I said earlier on that we've done some mapping. We're doing a cross-fertilization of ideas. You bring out the challenges, and then you look out for solutions to those. So it is important to bear in mind that if you are talking, say, of IUU fishing, if you are talking about ESG, to what extent do these relate to the blue economy in general? And therefore, the key things that relate to safety, that relate to sustainability, whether they deal with IUU fishing or with ESG, you map out you isolate, you identify the challenges.
Right.
If we isolate IUU, for example, what are the causes of IUU?
Yeah.
What is the nature of the regulatory framework for IUU? Is there sufficient regulation? Is there capacity enough?
Right.
Why are we having IUU? We are having IUU because we know, for example, that the financial backbone is not there. And as Tolu mentioned, when we are talking about the ocean centers, we are not oblivious of the fact that it must be driven by finance.
Right.
And consequently, blue finance initiatives are very, very key.
Absolutely.
To what extent do we de-risk some of the key elements that make financiers shy away from coming into a particular area?
Right.
The United Nations Secretary General made a statement only last week, and he indicated quite clearly that renewables are on the ascendancy.
Right.
So that today we're talking about a capacity of about 1/3 energy capacity from renewables.
Right.
You know, some 10 years ago, the Paris Agreement, no one envisaged that within this short space of time, we would improve and increase the generating capacity of renewables. So it is indeed important. And also, when we talk about ESG, environmental, social governance, the people we have mapped, they come from various sectors and they bring to the table. So at every point in time, you have to ask yourself, who is in the room? And you would find out that in the room, you have government, you have private participation, you have, if you like, the local players themselves.
Yeah.
You have those who are affected by some of the policies which we bring on board. So it's all of this is aimed at trying to get appropriate regulations in place, trying to build standards, and ensuring that once we have standards, can we adopt best practices? So best practices, regulatory framework, and then having in mind all of these synchronizing would enable you deal with the issues that you have isolated.
Right.
Whether it is IUU, whether it is ESG, whether it is fragmented regulation, all of these will be dealt with as you look at this within that framework.
Yeah. All right. Let me come to Mr. Lakwa and find out from you, in what way will government, private sector, civil society, academia kind of like be roped, and other stakeholders, so to speak, be roped in to help fashion and develop local, as it were, solutions, to influence new marine-related standards or policies?
Well, definitely, whenever you're putting an initiative like this together, you always have to have dialogues, policy dialogues especially. One of the key benefits of this is that it gives an opportunity to highlight the key critical issues in the space. It's also an opportunity to get everyone's perspectives, government's perspectives, private sector's perspectives, the shippers' perspectives, and so forth. And I think this exercise is going to be particularly key because we are venturing into a space that is relatively fresh, especially when we're talking about blue economy. Right now, the blue economy is projected to be about $3 trillion in the future, just from blue economy.
Wow.
When it comes down to...
You said $3 trillion?
$3 trillion globally.
Wow.
Going to climb to about $5 trillion by 2050.
Wow.
Right. Yeah. Right. So when you see that there's a lot of untapped opportunities, the question is, how do we move forward and what is the right steps to take? Well, from government, obviously we're looking at regulations, we're looking at policies to kind of shape the actions in the space so that the people know exactly how to operate. What is the guidance? What are the standards? What is the bare minimum? How can we improve? Now, government is also looking for investments. They're also looking to also project some of their policies. Ghana has had an integrated maritime strategy since, was it 2022 or 2023? Yeah, well, 2022. It's very, very ambitious in scope and nature, but it's going to need a lot of help. It's going to need a lot of help from the various stakeholders. So government. So if we have a center like this, if we have these, the platform to have these policy discussions, then we'll be able to show, okay, what is the roadmap of what we need to accomplish? What are the key obstacles now preventing us from getting there, and how do we work together to solve those problems? If the issue is finance, how do we create the financial instruments? Dr. Kofi mentioned de-risking. Yes, we need to do de-risking, but we also have to have a vision. We need to have something to work towards so that we can be able to get there. Some of the areas are very obvious. For example, we have an energy crisis in Ghana. Offshore renewable energy is something that we can do now.
Right.
In 2022, I happened to travel to Denmark on a UN Global Compact trip.
Right.
And when we were in Denmark, we saw that they have a lot of wind farms offshore.
Right.
I know in Ghana there was plans for something like that.
Yes, that's for wind energy.
And when we asked the cost of, if we asked the Danish, how much did it cost you to set this up? For them, it cost about $180 million. Wow. Now, I think that's something we can come up with. And they say that the wind turbines is contributing to 20% of their energy output. So imagine if we had something like this, so that anytime if there's supposed to be a maintenance with one facility or another,
you switch on to.
You can just switch on to that. We don't have to say, oh, we're sorry, we're going to have a little bit of outage here, Adenta, lookout, Kwabenya, lookout, and so forth. We can just say, we can just switch.
Right.
And so, going back to the Secretary General's statements, these are things that are coming. So the question is, can we make those investments now? I believe, sincerely, the government wants to make those investments. The question is, where's the money going to come from, and how do we make it attractive?
Right.
But the good news is that there's lots of examples worldwide on how this can be done, and the cost is not as high as we think. So it's just about getting that in. So that's from the government side, and then you've got the associations who are going to be looking at the general welfare of people in this sector when it comes to health, when it comes to fair wages, when it comes to treatment. All of the things underpin what we are trying to accomplish in this space. So there's a lot, but it will start with the dialogues. It will start with us having these discussions, and then from there we have something to build upon. And then once you have something solid to build upon, believe you me, there are actual people who are interested in this. I can tell you that I was personally approached by the head of NORC back in 2022. He was asking, is Ghana a country that's interested in having a green maritime lane? What that means exactly is that are we interested in upgrading our ships our ports for the ships of the future? He called it green maritime corridor. That was the term that he used. What they're saying is that they are currently right now designing the ships of the future. They say by 2050, at least 50% of ocean vessels will be running on either ammonia or hydrogen. We know that Namibia is producing hydrogen right now that is being funded by Germany so that they can be getting that energy resource. And of course, as you know, Europe is really looking to divest from oil because of what's happening with Russia. So when we're looking at things like this, we're seeing that there's tremendous opportunity. Tremendous opportunities. So it's just a question of how do we go about it. And then when we go about it the right way, we're going to get interest from all sectors. Thank you.
So let me come to you, Doc, finally, and find out from you the next steps following the 31st launch, that's next week, and how will Ghana measure success in aligning ocean industry development with long-term safety and sustainability goals?
Yes, it's important to mention that, in terms of success, you are looking at two key things. You're looking at people, you're looking at property. How are you making people safe? How are you making property safe? And in the end, all of the things we are using, how sustainable, can they be? We all have a certain target. That target is 1.5 degrees of warmth, so we do, our collective efforts, our collaboration, our cooperation, our commitment, all of it should lead us to reducing global warming. And that is key. When you talk about renewables, for example, we are affected greatly by the geopolitics of the world. Israel fires some missiles into Iran, and immediately there are shivers all around the world. We are not. But imagine we are relying heavily on sunlight. We are relying on wind. These forms of energy, to what extent are we going to be affected by the geopolitics? You would realize that the geopolitics doesn't affect us that much once we are relying on sunlight and we are relying on wind. So our renewable energy effort then pays off.
Right.
So once we want to go in that direction, you have to find out, one, as Tolu mentioned, how do you finance your new capacities? And your new capacities you're looking at, are there any downsides to them? And that is why I said, in order to measure these things, you will need to look at, have we put in place appropriate regulations? Have we put in place appropriate standards? Are we looking at best practices? What are the benchmarks? That once we have them, they become a blueprint.
Right.
And therefore, we ingrain safety in sustainability. We make safety and sustainability a culture within institutions, within industry.
Right.
So if we're counting accidents, for example, we can say we have moved from 30 accidents in a year to 5 accidents in a year.
Right.
So the measuring rod tells us that we are making some improvement in this regard.
Right.
I mentioned that the overall effect is the 1.5 degrees.
Absolutely.
So if the various efforts from various places, they finally contribute so that these anthropogenic effects on climate are reduced, then we would say that we have made some progress.
Awesome.
So the ocean centers are basically to bring these things out, look for the challenges, try and get the solutions which address these critical issues, because we are in transition.
Absolutely.
We are moving to a time when we are moving to renewables.
Right.
If there are any downsides, we need to address them.
Right.
And these are critical.
Awesome. Kwesi Hassan is watching us on Facebook Live. He says, good to see you, Doc. And that's Dr. Emmanuel Kofimbia. He is the country lead, United Nations Global Compact Ocean Centers Initiative. He's been in the studios for our first discussion. And indeed, we also have in the studio Mr. Tolu Kweku Lakwa, who's the Executive Director of the United Nations Global Compact Network, Ghana. Thank you so much, gentlemen, for obliging us and for coming. God willing, on the 31st, we'll see you at the launch.
Yes, thank you very much. So,
thank you so much for having us.
Sure. The launch will be on 31st.
Absolutely.
It will be hybrid, so those who are not able to come can also follow it online.
Absolutely.
Yes. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much indeed. Viewers, so we're going to go for a break. When we return, we'll zoom into our second discussion straight. Please stay with us.
Good energy brings you quality choices with Goil Super XP. Available in many Goil stations nationwide. It is fortified with special additives that help your engine perform better and use less fuel. Branch into a Goil station today and energize your ride with Goil Super XP, compatible with most vehicles. Goil Super XP, Wufilia, huh? Wubefeel. Goil, good energy. Yeah, yeah.
Electricity, then pay your taxes. Our taxes, our future.
Because you see, without our taxes, we wouldn't have good roads, good schools, better hospitals, street lights, and other very important social amenities. When we pay our taxes, we give our children free and quality education. Talga, my money too small. Why should I pay my tax? Look, small. Salifo, it doesn't matter how small or big your business or income is, you still have to pay your taxes. The little taxes from each and every one of us, when put together, could give your community clean water or that deprived school with tables and chairs. Please pay your taxes. It is your responsibility. It is your civic duty. It is the law.
Welcome to today's edition of Serene Insurance Business News. We present to you Serena. You're right. You can complete an entire insurance process for the purchase of any motor and other insurance products, from onboarding to issuing a motor insurance sticker and policy certificate, all on WhatsApp in less than 10 minutes. Serena is simple to use and it prioritizes user ease and flexibility. You can either use voice notes or text to effortlessly issue your instant policy, cross-platform renewals, claims, and also process your payments through mobile money, Visa, and MasterCard. To engage Serena, just search for Serena Serene Insurance on all social media handles and scan the Serena barcode or save her number 0500 517 114 and start chatting her on WhatsApp immediately. There you have it. Serena is not just a tool, it's an innovation by Serene Insurance designed to redefine how motor and travel insurance are accessed and managed. Speed, convenience, and reliability.
MPS Terminal 3 is Africa's new state-of-the-art container terminal at Tema Port. For manufacturers, agro-processors and traders, the new port means business can be done faster. This infrastructure boost will improve Ghana's port handling capacity, connect more trading routes, and oil the engine of growth for the economy, creating greater opportunities across all sectors as Africa's markets merge and become the largest trading bloc globally. MPS, we connect, you thrive.
At Phoenix Insurance, we make the unpredictable predictable and the uncertain certain with our range of products including motor insurance, fire insurance, engineering insurance, marine insurance, accident insurances, and all types of bonds. We have you covered. We also support you with risk management advice to enable you stay focused on your business. Take a policy with Phoenix Insurance today. We help you rise from adversity stronger and more secure. Contact us on 0302 246319 or 0302 246644 or any of our branches, agencies, and brokers spread across the nation. You can as well connect with us on our WhatsApp chatbot. Efiba is waiting to assist you. Make the future predictable with Phoenix Insurance. Phoenix Insurance, a delightful service experience delivered with wisdom.
All right, so welcome back. We are zooming straight into our second discussion for tonight. And like I said, this is a part two of what we did last week. That has to do with the handling of dangerous cargo within our corridors and logistics sector. Last week, if you recall, we had guests from the Environmental Protection Agency. We had one from the Ghana Port and Harbours Authority. We had another from TBT, that's a terminal that's dedicated to handling dangerous cargo in the port. And indeed, we also had the Managing Director of Crown Transport and Logistics Company, Mr. Ghassan Husseini, who is likely to be joining us online soon. But we have Madam Kafu Iboni, who is a Principal Program Officer, Chemicals Control and Management Center, Environmental Protection Agency, also right in the studios today too. Good evening, ma'am, and welcome once again.
Good evening, and good evening to your viewers.
Awesome. We're grateful to you for obliging us for this part two of the discussion. Also in the studios, Mr. Andrew Steno, Deputy Fire and Safety Manager, Port of Tema. Good evening, sir, and welcome once again.
Thank you for having me.
Awesome. And last but not the least, Madam Yasmina Shiagbo, General Manager, Tema Bonded Terminal, TBT. That's a terminal dedicated to handling, dangerous cargo in the ports. Let me start with EPA once again. Last week, I think I started with you. This week, I'm starting with you again. And just for you to tell us what reforms or improvements are underway to strengthen EPA's oversight on dangerous goods.
Thank you for the question. Yes. So, I mentioned EPA law. This year, we reviewed our law. So we have a new law, which is the Act 1124.
Right.
So even with the review, we've incorporated emerging issues. So it gives the EPA more power to make sure people comply with everything, including hazardous goods as well.
Right.
So EPA now has an oversight responsibility with anything that affects the environment and climate change, which, of course, hazardous goods is one of them. So that is one of them. And then EPA is also working on automating its processes. So our internal processes, which is the permitting processes,
Right.
we are trying to automate it, which will include our permitting systems, licensing, and even cargo tracking.
Right.
And this will help with transparency, data analysis, and then it will help with compliance as well.
Right.
And we talk of capacity building. We are trying to incorporate, or it's something we do already.
Right.
So we build capacity of our staff and even extend it to the customs and other related agencies that have something to do with that. And with our interagency collaboration, we will strengthen it. So we have more meetings, more engagements together to discuss emerging issues and try to find ways and means to make things better. And our enforcement mechanisms as well. With our new law, we now have some penalty regimes. So those who do not comply, we have ways and means of imposing penalties on them.
Right.
And this will help people to comply with the regulations.
Right.
And promoting private and government partnerships. So, for instance, we have a good relation with TBT.
Right.
Anytime there's an issue, they can easily come to us, and then we find ways to address it. And I mentioned our physical presence at the ports.
Right.
We are working effortlessly to make sure we get back to the ports, and this will also help with regulating dangerous goods. So that's what I'll say. With
All right,
the
so you
reforms.
mentioned permit in your earlier submission. I just want to find out from you what the permit and clearance process for importing or exporting dangerous cargo is and which stakeholders are involved.
Okay, thank you. With the permitting systems, it depends on what you are bringing in. So if you are bringing in cyanide, the process is different from you bringing in a pesticide or any other chemical.
Right.
So with pesticides, for instance, it starts with registration. So you have to register your product with EPA. If you are bringing in cyanide, then you need an end user certificate. And with all that, you need a permit before the goods arrive at the port. So that is part of the pre-shipment processes.
Right.
So this may include getting permits from other institutions as well. So if you are bringing, for instance, cyanide, then you need a permit from Minerals Commission as well. They also come in. EPA comes in. If you are bringing ammonium nitrate, then Ministry of Interior comes in. You need a transport license. Minerals Commission also comes in. So it all depends on what you are bringing in.
Right.
So we encourage people to get to know what is involved. Don't wait till your goods get to the port before you apply on ICAMS and you expect things to be done. It doesn't work that way.
Right.
You need a permit prior to importation. So that is part of the pre-shipment. And then we come to arrival at the port.
Right.
When the goods arrive at the port, you need your clearance permit. So that is when ICAMS come in.
Right.
You need to apply on the ICAMS, which is Integrated Customs Management System, yes, to get your goods cleared. And with that, you need certain documents that you need to attach to the application. So that is also another step. And after you have cleared, or when you put in the application, EPA has to review and make sure the quantities you have put in is what is coming. So we will check what you have put on the ICAMS with the bill of lading, which is coming from the shippers, to confirm if that is okay. And then if there is the need for an inspection, it could be just EPA or just customs, or it could be a joint inspection.
Right.
So that is also something that we do before you can go ahead to clear your goods.
Right.
When you clear your goods, there may be post-clearance monitoring.
Right.
So that is after you have cleared. We have to make sure the goods get to wherever you said it is going to. So for instance, with cyanide, you've told us with your end user certificates, you've mentioned that mine A, B, and C is going to use that product. So we have to make sure the cyanide gets to that mine. It shouldn't get lost on the way. So that is why customs have their trackers on the track to ensure the goods get to where they are going to.
All right, awesome. Let me come to Mr. Andrew Taino, Port Fire and Safety Deputy Manager. And if you can share with us examples of interagency drills and coordinated safety exercises involving dangerous cargo in the port.
Yeah, So as a port, we take safety very serious. More specifically when it comes to the handling of these DGs.
Yes.
So it's important we have to train. That's the reason why we expect the shipping companies to provide us with all this information so that we can prepare for such emergencies. So getting all these informations are very, very critical. And training for such events are also critical because we need to be in preparedness for events like that because then we are working with human beings. There will be failures here and there. So you need to put in those systems to enable you to deal with situations like that. So as a port, we coordinate with TBT. They've actually scheduled a program for the year. At least twice in the year, they need to have drills. Apart from their normal drills they have, internal drills they have, we need to have that inter-agency drill with TBT together with National Fire Service. This time around, we are trying to blow it up a bit so that we involve UPA and all other key stakeholders, like maybe when it comes to this cyanide, we can bring those transport experts, those who are into tracking of these DGs, so that we'll bring them on board, so that we have that joint emergency drill. That's what we are looking at now. But when it comes to drills, we'll be having it with TBT together with the National Fire Service.
Okay, so I just want to stay with you a bit more and find out from you whether there have been any incidents or near misses that have influenced reforms or upgraded procedures at the port.
Yeah, exactly so. So, as I rightly said, because we are dealing with humans, sometimes it's very difficult to manage them. So we should expect that we'll have some of these incidents as a result of maybe bad storage, packaging not done properly, sometimes even placarding of the DGs. There are some situations where we have situations where maybe the importer has failed to put in the proper shipping name. You know, all the chemicals have got the proper shipping names you need to give to them. That will enable us to at least determine the chemical involved. Yes, as I said, all these things are very critical. And we've had situations like that. But as a port, we try to put those stringent measures, punitive measures, to forestall that. So because of some of these issues, we are very, very stern on that to ensure that these importers clearly declare some of these cargoes, as it were. So those are some of the few things we put in place just to make sure that all these small gaps are filled.
Let me come to TBT, Madam Jasmine Ashabo, and find out from you the common challenges or misconceptions you encounter from cargo owners and agents when handling dangerous cargo in the ports.
All right, so thanks for the question.
Yes.
And I think just to reiterate what my colleagues have mentioned, Afui and Mr. Taino, dangerous goods are not dry containers. They are not non-DG. So I think, again, it comes down to the sensitization and education of the public. Once I think the public is fully aware of the type of specialized cargoes that we are handling, then it can be, handled properly. So that's where we need to look at. And I think that's mostly our challenge is the recognition. First identifying the dangerous cargo, and then recognizing that what it is, and then treating it as such. And with ours, with loading, let's say a dangerous cargo that is in a container, and we're loading on trucks. That's where we try to work with EPA for transporters for hopefully EPA to certify the transporters. So we know from a roadworthy and a loadworthy standpoint, when they leave our terminal and they head on to the corridors of the hinterlands, that the cargo is actually safe on the roads. So those are some of the challenges that we have.
Okay, so I'll still stay with you and find out from you whether there are ongoing or planned infrastructure or policy upgrades that are being implemented at your end, that's DBT, to enhance capacity and safety.
Yes, so from a capacity standpoint, certainly we are looking at, there's some pipeline for expansions and, increasing our exit points and system-wise too. And but from a policy standpoint, we look forward to working with EPA and GPHA on improving some of the policies, specifically with shipping lines, for instance. Engaging them on the spillages.
Right.
You know, there's peak periods where we notice maybe consistent spillages happening. And so usually we will inform the shipping lines and then, you know, maybe advise them about the shippers, the packaging and all of that. And sometimes too, it's to do with even temperatures.
Right.
Like when we have, I'll say bitumen, sometimes it's just temperature change.
Right.
And so it causes the cargo to spill. So with shipping lines, it's, you know, reducing spillages and then response times for spillages. The posture towards spillages and how quickly we can resolve them.
Right.
And then using proper shipping names, as Mr. Taynor mentioned. Again, that falls in line with shippers and the importers, evacuating containers faster. I think that is key, especially with dangerous goods. The Port Authority has treats dangerous goods, you know, with stringency, as Mr. Taynor mentioned. It's not dry containers, which usually have 7 free days at the port. With dangerous goods, it's within 24 hours, depending on the cargo, which is like class 1s, you know, within 24 hours, it has to be out of the port or the waterfront. And other dangerous goods too, you have 5 free days, depending on the classes. And then with GPHA, it's just the emergency response time that we can improve. We work really closely, as Mr. Taynor mentioned. We do drills like every quarter. And besides the training that we do internally for our staff with IMDG certifications and all of that. So response times, we'll work closely with Mr. Taynor's team and continuous training with stakeholders, as mentioned. And I think that's what we're working on.
All right, I understand we have Mr. Ghassan Husseini online. Indeed, we are picking him via Zoom. Last week he did that, and this week he's going to be doing the same. He's the Managing Director of Crown Transport and Logistics Limited. Good evening, sir. Mr. Husseini, if you can hear me. I wanted to find out from you how you are able to train your personnel and drivers and how you prepare them for emergency response situations during transit when they are transporting dangerous cargo.
First, good evening to everybody. I just actually landed from an inspection. I was doing port inspection, or let's call it a port audit, someone. But let me just hit to the point of what you just asked. Actually, we developed something called a platform, or what you call a framework. The framework is for each position has specific training. Definitely the ER team are not trained the same thing like the drivers. Neither the drivers is the same training they will have as the ER team or the convoy manager or the escorts. Now, or even the road risk assessors. The whole concept of training is massive. Currently, just to have a look, the training we have exclude the presentation that we do for every single procedure, because every single procedure we do a presentation for it. We bring it into pictogram. Why do we do pictogram? Is to make it simple to understand by the drivers or by the attendees. We have somewhere around 26 obligatory training. There are different levels when it comes to emergency response. There are different levels when it comes to, for example, to SANET awareness. And every single training has a different material that we produce. For example, let me just brief you. Some of the training we do is person-driven training. This a bit complex. A person has specific tasks in the training, or in the convoy management, or in the transport, or in the SANET or the hazardous chemical transport. That specific training is tailored to his individual task. So if he is, for example, a driver, his training is specific to the task he's going to do in case of an emergency. So if you're going to open this scope, is massive. As every single procedure is turned into a pictogram, and for every single driver has his own training. The drivers generally have the same training, but when it comes from a driver to a convoy manager to a mechanic to an electrician, each one is different. The last time we had meetings, we were discussing, you asked me a question. You asked me, what have I learned from other ports. Today, actually, I just came out. I just said I came out from an audit to a port. Actually, it's not an audit because we don't do an audit. We do what you call due diligence, or you can call it an inspection. One of the things we have noticed is they have a software called CWD, which is compatibility of chemicals, which means because of the ports and the size and congestion you have at port, sometimes the port is obliged to mix chemicals. Like, for example, you can put cyanide and you can put the second product next to it. That might not react in case of a spill. You get me? So those, and one of the ports I did the due diligence to, they have this application. It was very interesting and is very helpful. I want to also touch on Mrs. Yasmin. She said something about temperature.
Yeah.
2014, there was an incident at Tema port where there was condensation of water on one of the cyanide containers, where we had to send our ER team to go and clear up. And actually, I mentioned the last time, yes, she's absolutely right. Temperature, variation, and humidity. Cyanide is not only cyanide, but if you just mentioned cyanide, cyanide is a hydroscopic material, which means it absorbs moisture or absorb water from air or from humidity. And the moment it absorbs that water, automatically with the chain reaction it has, you have what we call an HCM emission. An HCM emission, which means is a toxic gas. So when you open the container and the person doesn't pay attention, literally he'll be exposing himself to toxic gases. Okay?
All right, I get it. I get it. Thank you very much. Indeed, I've been told that we can activate the phone lines now. The number to dial will show right on your screen pretty shortly. You can dial it, and then we will be glad to oblige you. I'll still come to you, Mr. Husseini, and I'll pose another question to you with respect to some of the challenges you have when you interface with the ports, the terminals, and other regulatory agencies. But the number to dial is 0245834980, 0245834980. You can call in and contribute to the discussion. Pretty shortly, I shall also go into the inbox and share your messages with the rest of the world. Mr. Ghassan, Hussein, I'm still staying with you. I just want to find out from you, in your line of duty, you interface with the ports, you interface with the terminals, you interface with regulatory agencies. What are some of the issues that come up when you meet them?
Actually, we don't really have much issues. We abide by the regulation as they come, and we support it. However, we are a bit, this is very dangerous issue we're going to discuss. Our neighbors, when their trucks come into our territory, or let's say with the territory of Ghana, they cross a major distance is within the territory of Ghana. However, there's no regulations, there is a regulation, but the implementations and for them to abide by those regulations is a very minimal, which means we are at high risk, or let's put it this way, let me change the word high risk. We have a big exposure with those trucks because they did not fit, did not pass through any inspection, they don't have any PA inspection, they don't even have any other inspection that's been done. So we are risking or we have an exposure with our neighboring countries. And if you pick any country like Burkina, for example, if somebody's sending a cargo to Burkina, he's crossing almost 850 to 900 kilometers within Ghana. However, he's crossing only 200 in Burkina. In Mali, he's crossing somewhere around 900 and something in Ghana, and he's doing also 900 between Burkina and Mali. So the biggest exposure in the entire West Africa, or let's put it in this small segment, is Ghana. So in this way, we need to put certain, we need to put the regulation, but also we should be very careful, because when we pushed too much in 2009, for example, on axle load, Ghana lost a lot of business to Cote d'Ivoire, to Togo, and to Benin. The same thing happened with Ariba project, the Reunion project in Niger. Ghana did not have any piece of that business. I don't know how to do it. I don't have the experience nor the knowledge, but it's very delicate. You need to put certain regulation in place, and you need to make sure those trucks abide by it. At the same time, we should be extremely careful, because if you push or you put too strict regulations, they might move again to our neighboring countries, and those regulations are not there.
All right. Thank you very much indeed. Don't go with, we're still with you. Still stick with us. We'll come back to you. But let me come to EPA, Madam Boni, in the studios here and find out from you. We mainly transport, dangerous goods via the roads, in trucks and all that. I just want to find out from you whether there are any guidelines from the EPA that regulates the inland transportation of dangerous goods, especially via trucks.
Thank you. Inland transportation of dangerous goods is guided by a combination of national regulations and international best practices.
Right.
So with the national regulations, back to the EPA Act, the LI 2250, which ensures that all transporting vehicles are licensed. So vehicles that transport hazardous goods should be licensed by the EPA.
Right.
And during the licensing procedures, EPA makes sure we inspect the vehicles to make sure the vehicles are intact. And we also take the routes that the vehicles will be plying. So if you are moving from Ghana to Burkina or wherever, we need to know the routes from Tema through Nsawam to wherever before you get to your final destination. And we also make sure that the vehicles are insured. So their insurance should be valid.
Right.
So that in case of any incident, the insurance can take care of it. And there are other regulations as well. So the road traffic regulations also apply. And we make sure that the company, the transporting company, have emergency response plans so that in case of any incident, they can start to do something before the impact becomes so big.
Right.
So at least they can start containing with a spillage or whatever. They can start doing something before they get help from elsewhere.
Right.
And then we encourage transporting agencies to make sure that their personnel are trained on what they do so that they have an idea, as Jasmine mentioned, what you are carrying, you should know it. In case of any emergency, where do you even begin from? It's something they need to do. So that is what I have to say.
With respect to the trucks, are they, when you are examining or, inspecting them, are there any special features to look out for?
Yes, we do look out for. So the container sits on the bed. The trailer.
Right.
So we need to make sure it locks very well so that, the roads, they may be turning and all that, so that we make sure it doesn't topple over. And it should be in good condition. Some of them are so rickety when you see them. This is not in a good condition to transport goods.
Right.
So those are some of the things. They should have emergency spill kits on board, and their safety data sheets should also be, they should carry it along as they carry. So those are some of the few things that we check.
You mentioned, okay. Mr. Teno, what key reminders or protocols are emphasized to port users who deal, in dangerous cargo?
Just to reiterate some of the challenges that Madam mentioned.
Yes, Madam Boni,
some of the drivers who handle these DJs, most of it are not. Some come with limited knowledge. Apart from Mr. Gassan's company, those well-regulated logistics companies, for them, they are well trained.
Right.
They have their convoys, especially when it comes to the cyanide.
Yeah.
That is much more managed as compared to those freelance trackers, if I put it that way. And that's a difficulty. So we, the port, take it upon ourselves to do more awareness, especially for TBT. They have been doing that for the import-bound cargoes. But when it comes to transit, we take it upon ourselves. There are times they do what we call the unstuffing. We try to devour some of the cargoes. So we try to create awareness, just tell them the exact chemical they are handling.
Yeah.
There are times you see they are discharging corrosive, and some people will just be sitting on the backs and all that.
Yeah.
So these are things we are on the ground all the time to ensure that we make them aware of the cargo that they are handling. And also for our internal staff as well.
Yes.
Because they are all part of the value chain.
Absolutely.
So we do well to also create awareness. men on the field to make sure that they also are aware of the various classifications that we have.
Yeah.
So it's something that we do. When it comes to the handling of bulk cargo, with the package ones, those are much more controlled. With the bulk cargo, like ammonium nitrate,
yes,
there are times we handle some of these cargoes. So it's a pre-requirement. Before you start operations, you have to go through an awareness session,
right,
or a pep talk, just to brief you of the chemical, just to reiterate most of the issues that they are well aware
Absolutely.
of. That's basically what we do, just to ensure that these cargoes are discharged in a very safe manner.
All right, so I'll still stay with you. What additional technical or operational investments are needed to strengthen Tema Port's capacity for hazardous cargo risk management?
Just as I indicated last week, I think the port has done so much management. And even currently on Friday, we commissioned
a new
fire truck in a way to beef up our equipment fleet.
Absolutely.
I think as Oliver Twist,
you're asking for more.
Ask for more. There are more that we need to actually beef up our technical capacity.
Yes.
And also training. You know, when it comes to these DGs, new chemicals keeps on coming each day.
Yeah.
So there's a need for us to update our knowledge base.
Right.
So I think that those are some of the few things that we need as a port just to meet up with the demands of the industry.
Absolutely. I'll come to TBT, Madam Jasmine Ashagbo, and find out from you where, in cases where dangerous cargo is abandoned or delayed at the terminal, what protocols are followed to minimize risk and ensure proper disposal or re-export? And have there been instances where you have had to re-export some dangerous cargoes?
No, I wouldn't say so.
Okay.
No. With the I'll say this again. I think for the most part, I think the importers who bring in dangerous cargo, because it's specialized, they tend to know the urgency of clearing their cargoes.
Yeah.
But there are those that do not clear, and then that falls into uncleared cargo list. So that's considered UCL, and then eventually it's for the state, and then it's most of the times auctioned. So that's for that. But I wanted to hit on one of the questions that you asked Kafui about how they manage the dangerous cargo when it's on the corridors.
Yes.
So from our standpoint, what we try to help EPA is when a cargo, let's say a class 1 or a class 5 is leaving the terminal, we send an email to EPA just so they know, like the driver's name, the number plate, and the cargo that's leaving, so that they can also track and they have an idea about when the cargo left. So we'll continue to, work on enhancing our collaboration on that.
Right.
And I think it ultimately will help with the safety ness on the road. And Mr. Husseini also mentioned something about segregation of IMDG.
Yes.
Right. We also practice that within the terminal. And that rolls on to the vessels as well, on the ships.
Yes.
They have to follow the IMDG code. So, for instance, cyanide is class 6.
Yeah.
You can put, let's say, a container of cyanide with maybe a class 8, a corrosive, or a class 9, which is the environmentally hazardous.
Yeah.
But you can't mix it with, let's say, a class 1. Because the toxic and the explosives do not go together.
Right.
So on the ground within the terminals, we also have to practice that, and that carries across with any terminal that handles dangerous goods. So in the case of transit, they would also be doing a similar practice.
Right. Okay, so let me go to Mr. Hussein and find out from you what support structures or policy improvements would help hauliers like your company enhance safety and compliance under 24-hour logistics operations, premised on the fact that, yes, the ports are now doing 24/7?
I would like to start, let me go back to Mrs. Kafui.
Yes.
If you've, Mrs. Kafui or Yasmin, all what they have done is centered around Ghanaian trucks. Most of the trucks that picks hazardous chemicals in Ghana are not Ghanaians. There's a lot of them are not Ghanaian trucks. And this way I'm trying to emphasize, we need to find a solution for it. So let me give you an idea how serious it is. I think if I break it down into simple, so 3 grams of cyanide is enough to drop a person dead. With my size, because I'm big and fat, I might need somewhere like 5 grams. But somebody, as a normal human being, he needs like 3 grams of cyanide. One container contains 20 million grams, which means almost 10 million people can die from one container of cyanide falling in any of our rivers in Ghana.
Right.
In simple English, if a container falls today, tomorrow morning there won't be anybody alive to tell you what happened. It's as simple as ABC. And remember, sand is not the only dangerous one. You have amyl xanthate, you have even peroxide, you have a simple one, even cotton, oil. Cooking oil is inflammable. Though it's not been classified, but it's still a dangerous product. The thing I'm looking at, we need to find a way between EPA, the regulatory agencies, and some bilateral communication between government to put, I don't know how to do it. Unfortunately, I'm not an expert in that domain. I have no idea. To put certain regulation in place to work on the whole UMWA or ECOWAS to make sure the entire region is safe. So when an incident happened in Mali, we in Ghana will be affected. If it happens anywhere else, the whole West Africa is interconnected in a way or another. And as I just mentioned, one of the chemicals is cyanide. And yes, sir, if a container of cyanide fall in the Niger River, the impact is going to be disastrous.
Absolutely.
Actually, to give you an idea, there's no company nor an institution will be able to handle a spill of that magnitude.
Right.
Okay? We had an incident in Burkina Faso in Djibo, an area called Djibo, which was with, I would call it a pond. Even with a pond, the impact was disastrous. Imagine if that is a flowing river. It would have been much, much worse.
Right.
So is what we are mentioning here and what we are discussing, the impact of hazardous chemicals when it's moved on our streets is much more dangerous than people are anticipating. And especially that when you don't have controls, I don't call it control, but when you don't have some sorts of inspections or some sorts of, at least you are feeling safe that this equipment are fit for purpose.
Right. Okay.
And also there's one more thing, the road risk assessments and other things like this, they need to be shared with every single driver who's carrying hazardous chemicals. At least he knows where the dangers are on the roads.
Right. Okay. Thank you very much, Mr. Hussein. Let's go into the inbox now and take your messages. This one says, my name is Mansa in Takoradi. This is to the EPA. Great insights today. The way you broke down the permit and clearance process for dangerous cargo was really enlightening. Show us how critical EPA's role is in the 24-hour port system.
Even before the 24-hour system came up,
yes,
EPA works remotely, though official working hours is 8 to 5.
Yes.
But we've had instances where we are in the house and even in the night, we are being called to work to clear goods on the system.
Right.
So we are already doing it. It's just that officially EPA has been contacted to see how best we can also be part of this 24-hour economy.
Absolutely.
So it's being discussed at the top level. I'm sure very soon it will trickle down and then we'll find our way.
Awesome. This one is from Mike Ogbojo in Teshi. He says, Chief Taino Aiko, good to know the port is building strong capacity to handle hazardous cargo incidents anytime, day or night. Now we pray for continuous mercies as well as from God in protecting our port. Thank you very much, Mike. This one says, the man on Zoom seems like he knows his stuff. It's good to have Ghanaians learn best practices elsewhere to incorporate in our local business. This one, he continues, he says, kudos. This one is from Fred in Spintex. Now, this one says, Atukwamina in Tema says, I'm curious, what investments in technology or equipment would most improve hazardous cargo emergency responses at the Tema port? I think I asked this question to Mr. Steiner. He mentioned the fact that we even, just on Friday, commissioned a new fire truck, you know, and a host of other stuff. So maybe you would want to just spare some 5 seconds to, you know, oblige him, Mr. Taino.
As I said, the port continued to invest heavily in terms of equipment. When it comes to even the sea base or sea incident, maybe it has to do with DGs. You know, all our tugs are fitted with firefighting equipment, containment kits. So the port is well prepared for such incidents.
Right.
We even have drones that could even monitor incidents at Anchorage.
Absolutely.
Yes, so the port is well prepared.
Awesome. All right, so this one says, I want to know from the transporter, has there been any situation where his company has been met with a challenging situation on the corridor, like spillage, accidents, and other related issues, and how did you deal with them? This one is going to Mr. Gassan, if you can hear me.
Actually, we didn't only have one incident. We had many. I investigated myself over probably like 10, 20 more than 20 incidents. I investigated myself of accidents, spills. Well, we have what we call significant and minor spills. Most of the spills we had are minors, or mostly are rollovers. So it's not really an issue where it was so big that you need to involve what you call tier 2. Tier 1 is normally what we call within the company capacity. Tier 2, or what we call the next level, is within the government or the national capacity, because we can speak to mines or we speak to different institutions to have their support. And we have what we call tier 3, where we get involved with, for example, ICMI or OIC in case of oil spill. All depend on the type of spill and how the magnitude is. But yes, we had so many I investigated, for example, an incident happened in Jibo, as I mentioned earlier, where the entire pond was, well, every living creature in the pond died.
Right.
In simple, where the company had to provide a source of water, a source of food, and they needed to keep guard, and they needed to dilute the water because you add more fresh water to the contaminated water to reduce the concentration, and that cost millions.
Right.
The company I did it with it cost them over $1.1 million to sort out the pond, barely about 2 or 3 acres in size.
Wow.
But the quantum of money spent to clear up and to clean up the issue cost them over $1.1 million. So you can imagine how expensive and how difficult it is when you have such an incident.
Yeah, right. Thank you very much, Mr. Gassan Husseini. Tonight, viewers, we've been discussing part 2 of how to ensure safe handling of dangerous cargo in Ghana's ports and logistics corridors. With us in the studios have been Madam Kapui Boni, Principal Programs Officer, Chemicals Control and Management Center, Environmental Protection Agency, EPA, Mr. Andrew Steno, Deputy Fire and Safety Manager, Port of Tema, Mr. Gassan Husseini, Managing Director, Crown Transport and Logistics Company, whom you just heard, and indeed Mrs. Yasmin Ashiabo, General Manager, Tema Bonde Terminal TBT. That's a terminal dedicated to the handling of dangerous cargo in the port of Tema. Ladies and gentlemen, we thank you so much for obliging us last week and then this week. It's been great having you around and for obliging us and sharing your perspectives on this very insightful topic with our viewers. We appreciate you so much. Thank you so much. We'd also like to say a big thanks to our sponsors, Ghana Revenue Authority, Guel PLC, Serene Insurance, Ghana Link Network Services, Meridian Port Services, and indeed Phoenix Insurance. Remember, the show is powered by the Ghana Port and Harbours Authority. God willing, next week we shall bounce back with another wonderful edition of your favorite Iron Port program. We entreat you to watch the abridged version of Iron Port on Wednesday at 8:30 p.m. on Ghana Television. My name is Kennedy Mona. We wish you a super week ahead, and we thank you so much for choosing us. Keep watching the rest of our programs here on Metro TV. Thank you, and God bless.